Hey guys, BAKD here. In today's video, I'm going to go over the ultimate trapper's guide to playing a rogue. I'm going to go over a brief summary of my gear, skills, and what you should be looking for on this class. I absolutely shred sigils that are 20 plus my level. I do get one shot sometimes, but I am absolutely shredding higher content with this. And I am putting a pretty darn good fight up to people up to 10 levels higher than me. On occasion, there are a few barbarians or sorcerers that can pretty much one-shot me or completely null out my damage. So let's just start off with my gearing. So you'll see most of these. You can just look at some of the stats I honed in on, but I went for armor. I went for 20% less damage from crowd controlled. Basic skill damage increases my core skill, which I just put this on there, but it can be changed. Something you're looking for on your gloves is reduce arm time, twisting blades, and crit chance. With your helmet, you're looking for poison imbuement and any other beneficial stat. For the chest and legs, should be 100% defensive if you can. I went with grants 20% damage reduction is huge, plus poison trap on this, so making my poison trap absolutely strong as hell. A key to this build is going to be the pennant greaves, just for that trail of frost that chills enemies, and I'll show you why in a minute. Your crossbow needs to have vulnerable damage and crit damage. The other two are negotiable, but dex is huge because it increases the damage of all of your skills. And of course I got close enemies is pretty good for this bow. Gem wise, same thing, critical damage to vulnerable enemies. You have to get the shadow step affix here. This gives you additional charge, and it gives a little bit of extra damage, which is really nothing, but it's all for the extra charge. You want to be able to shadow step twice and then reset all of your abilities with death traps. So you have 4 stuns and 4 get out of jail cards pretty much. So this is absolutely huge to get. Killing a vulnerable enemy grants you energy regeneration. This one is a very good legendary affix, so I would recommend going with something like that for energy regeneration. I did the dodge chance with when you dodge you get additional primary resource, which this can be moved, but you'll see my jewelry all have very good rolls. You're looking for like weapon mastery, or some of the other damage skills on the passive there. Crit strike, crit chance, vulnerable damage, and damage to poison is good. You're looking for crit strike, bonus life, vulnerable damage, pretty good. You always want to go with swords for the bonus crit strike damage. On these ones, you're looking for the same things: crit strike damage and vulnerable damage, along with dex and whatever else you want to put on there. This is another key imprint here. Your poison imbue skills have a 10% chance to create a toxic pool. You can spam your poison imbuement over and over while the pool's up. It's not so much about the damage, so it doesn't really matter about the roll. It's about spamming that poison imbuement is huge. Now, let's go into the skill tree. You can kind of look over how I built her. So, fundamental puncture. For twisting blades, you want to max that out. I would go with the enemies are dazed while impaled if you are PvPing. If you are PvEing, I would go to advanced twisting blades. Max out sturdy, siphoning strikes. Shadow step. The cooldown is nice, but typically I always reset the cooldown with death traps, so I like the additional stun, and the stun is a must in PvP. Coming down here, I like weapon mastery. I have 3 points already, and I added 1 more in there for the additional damage. You have to get 3 out of 3 concussive, and I got 1 of each of these just for a little bit better mobility. Gives my evade a little bit of a cooldown reduction, and you also knock dazed enemies down, which is huge. You knock them down, and then you can use another trap or twisting blades them, or however you want there. Poison trap, I have mine 8 out of 5 with only 1 point in it. Yeah, I only have 1 point in that one. Typically, the cooldown chance to reset your imbuement is huge. The additional damage is good too, so really either of those work. 1 point in exploit, you have to max out malice for the additional damage. Now, I paired up these two for my ultimate ability. When you use this, you potentially stun them for 0.5 seconds. Not 100% sure how good that is, but going with the energy regeneration on kill is huge. These can both be moved somewhere else, but I have 1 and 1 just for a little bit of variety. This is definitely good too. Imbued skills get 3% crit chance. Max out your poison imbuement as high as you can, especially with that helmet. And then of course you want to go blended poison imbuement there. Typically I would move this down to here for the poison reduction, or poison enemies deal 15% less damage, and then I had to unlock that to get to there. But the 3%, it's pretty big having additional poison, but I can't fit that in. The pennant greaves are absolutely key to go with frigid finesse. This is huge. This increases your DPS by a buttload. And then I did slowed enemies by 10% there just to slow them down slightly. Get a twisting blade in them. Trap mastery, max that out. And then death trap. I do switch between momentum and exposure all the time, but momentum is pretty darn good in PvP because you get damage reduction, energy regeneration, and movement speed there. Alright, so let's go into my Paragon board. Now this is definitely not perfect. Of course you want to just get whatever rare nodes you can that increase your damage with dex. The 4 key glyphs are going to be closer, combat, exploit, and then snare, which is going to increase the radius of your poison trap. I don't quite have this unlocked yet, but you want to get these all to 15 as fast as you can. The closer, of course, gets you reduction to damage. Combat, I would typically go for first, because if you can meet this, your critical strike restore 12% of your energy. More damage to vulnerable enemies, and then of course the non-ultimate traps increased by 25%. There are a 4th one which you can go with. Really it's kind of variable if you use snare or not. There may be some better ones for more damage. The key to this one though is for your first Paragon board you do deadly ambush, so you can get the 0.5% arm time of the traps. This is going to be huge for your arm time and PvPing, so people can't just run out of your trap really quick, and you want it below 0.5 seconds so you can shadow step and arm and use your poison trap accordingly. Next one I went with was the cheap shot. Additional damage. I think there's some damage reduction in there, which is good. But yeah, you just kind of go through this however you want. And then my last and final board is the exploit weakness for the additional damage. And I slotted the non-ultimate traps here, give increased radius as my last one. I'm going to see how that works out shortly, but I got about 5 more points I need before I can meet that and try it out. Now to just put my build through the test, this is a very high tiered sigil. You can see how high the enemies are over me, and I am absolutely wiping them out. I'll show a PvP clip next of me just killing somebody. That is a little bit higher level than me. It absolutely shreds them. But this is the basics to making a trapper built rogue, and I think this content can clear pretty much 95% of the game and over the level of which a normal player can essentially tackle. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. I'm not the best Paragon board maker. This is pretty much my first Diablo game I ever played, but I am heavily around PvP, so if you guys enjoy that content, subscribe to my channel for my PvP compilations. Be sure to join the Discord in the description if you want to join that community and share your builds and things that you have had success with. And I also do have a clan on the screen here if you want to join. We just run nightmare dungeons and such, and higher level sigils, level people up, and just have fun playing. Alright guys, that's going to do it for this video, and I will see you on the next one. Peace.